Hello adventurers, and welcome to another War Within Reddit report. And today we're going to be diving into one of the most heated topics, and I think divided topics, which is the crafting cartels within WoW. And so for those of you who are not fully immersed in this topic, I totally understand. A lot of people say that it's partially fiction or all fiction, but basically, even if you have some sort of reference, these kind of have existed in WoW for quite some time. During the classic era, this is most notably known as the Devilsaur Mafia, who would go around Ungaro Crater and kind of micromanage that one section of area for resource gathering, and a lot of people created a lot of drama out of it, but also a lot of fun was created out of it, so it kind of like balanced itself out in a weird kind of way. My head says it's still wrong that it happened, but my classic Andy in me says Loktar Ogar. But at the same time, I think that separates itself from the current retail situation, because I think you could kind of log in at a different time, different servers that wouldn't have the same issues. Maybe, it was already an unfair battle whenever, whenever world PvP is involved, especially, it's always kind of like an unfair battle. But moving on to retail WoW, I think the crafting cartels have sort of evolved in a sense. It's no longer about hoarding, resource gathering, and making it basically nobody's able to gather it. It's more about basically preventing those who order items. This is through the crafting order system in WoW, and preventing them from getting getting the item without paying their sort of fixed fee that they've established. I don't know what it is that established it, like what exactly they do it by. I imagine it's similar to the Asmongold way back in the day. So some sort of arbitrary number where people can kind of earn their money, sort of. Maybe it's based off of prices in auction house and that type of thing, but I don't think it goes that into depth. But as a customer, basically what will happen to you is, you as a customer, once someone picks up your order, they will pressure you into paying a fixed price, especially if you post into trade chat to try to get someone to craft your order. Additionally, as a crafter, they're basically reported en masse. So if you're a crafter who posts in trade chat, they will mass report your name, and you'll receive sort of a squelch, as they say, depending on your prior offenses, through an automated algorithm. I had no idea what squelch was before this at all, and I guess a lot of you are bad, because this has to be new terminologies. But other than maybe some name changes, because I had some gamer names back in the day, I've never had enough of effects to really know what this is. But I guess squelch is just like a minor infraction, So my main thing is, so why is this happening, and where did this come from? Like, why are we making this video? Well, someone posted this video, or this post on Reddit, which was deleted since, and it tagged with the OP lied, which I want to add at the beginning of it. But basically, to summarize this post, and I'll make sure to include links in my descriptions, basically they got a violation abusive chat for their post, which was very basic. This is but the main thing that they said was the reason they got mass reported is they will accept any fee. And they got violated for abusive chat. Now, later on, people are saying that this person was doing the chats in /s. I don't know if people were actually able to prove that. The post wasn't edited to show like, hey, this was the reason. And they also did not receive chat logs, according to them. I have to believe that there is some degree of truth to what they're saying, even if they did say it in /s chat. Was that the reason that they effectively got banned? So going further into the post, because someone did update it and say that they updated it further, someone says in this, saying the worst someone can do by mass reporting you is getting temporarily squelched, there's the term, if there was no wrongdoing. If you upset a group of people and they see you do something, use profanity, they might report you there. I have messed with bots. Most recent memory was in the Season of Discovery, finding a dwarf hunter bot in Ashton Vale. They were farming right where one of the warlords spawns when the event starts. They got flagged, and then I just camped their body until they stopped giving honor. And then let other people know where they were so they can get free honor from destroying a bot as well. also reported it and had no repercussions on my end. Also, mess with the war mode booster. A lot of stories like this are like, I robbed a bank and got away with it. A week later, I got arrested while eating ice cream. I'm now going to spin the tale that I was arrested for eating ice cream. Details of the full story rarely end up present. If someone feels they're wrongdoing action, then they can appeal. People that try to make a public spectacle of it are usually doing it for attention. So I think there is a degree of truth of what's being said by this person. I can't say that's the truth for all cases, because personally, I mean, a lot of people mention these in the Reddit post as well. They're like, oh, because you saw a streamer happen, then it must all be fake. But if the fact that automation does exist, then we have to at least believe that there is some truth to this. So my first question was, how is this happening? I think it's true that crafters must be outed through some method outside of crafting orders, because if it's all within the crafting system, this shouldn't happen. But because the system is not a fully encasing, it's not going to capture everybody. I think somebody out there is going to have to use trade chat. I think it's almost a necessary portion of crafting orders, especially on lower pop realms, in order to get some of these things done. So I think you have to have trade chat no matter what. So it's not like you can rely entirely on crafting orders to say like this is going to fix the issue. So why is this an issue for crafters? I think similar to that Lionheart Helm situation where prices were set to, I think, 100 gold back in the day for classic WoW. Back in the day sounds a while now. So I think the issue is as you get to these higher ranking recipes that few people have, it's difficult for people, one, if you're a buyer, to follow. If you're a buyer and you really don't have like a keen eye for crafting, it's difficult to understand what all goes into crafting. I think that nowadays it's a lot more complex than people give credit for. And there's been some content creators who have created videos saying specifically it is confusing. So I think being a buyer on that end, it can be difficult for someone to understand all that's going into it. So it might be easy for crafters and people who are part of these groups to pressure people into spending more or paying a higher fee. Because I could see it's very likely that if someone is putting up a crafting order and nobody's crafting it, it's like, okay, maybe I'm not putting up enough money for this craft. In all reality, there should be enough people who are willing to do it, because one, there's quests that require you fulfill crafting orders, and two, there's typically somebody out there who's willing to do it as long as you give the materials to do so. So I think no matter your opinion about crafting and how much fee you should pay, I think you can agree that to some level that it's kind of in the crafter's hands to determine how much you're going to pay. And it can be difficult for a buyer to really know how much that cost truly is. So but with that being said, I mean, with what they said, that the post ended up being a lie and how true it was, it's difficult to say if this is happening 100%. So another story I found, this was of course a while back, but this is with Dragonflight, when the crafting orders, first came to light. Basically, this person, not this post necessarily, but basically saying it's toxic, but this one saying, I didn't realize the seriousness of crafting cartels until I hit trade chat and found a crafter for a belt. Everyone in my DMs was hitting me with 20k fee. Until I lost it. A 20k fee copy pasta, except one guy who offered to do it for 5k. I replied to all the 20k offers with no thank you, found somebody to do it for 5k, and they all replied name ? I did not tell them the name. I ain't no snitch, but people need to chill the F out. So even on the buyer's ends, it's like why would someone be inclined to lie in this case? At least it would be less likely. So this is kind of where it gets difficult to parse. So what truly happens when multiple members mass report a person? History has shown that, at least from a streamer example, I think Stay Safe did this, and this is back in the AQ era, that mass reporting can indeed lead to action, kind of like a punishment first and then lead to action later. But these punishments have universally seemed small. They haven't been permanent bans. They're usually temporary suspensions, usually is what it leads to. A report system should exist to do this. I don't think that an automated report system is necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people like say that there's no way that this exists, and in reality, I think that's not really like fair to say that it doesn't exist at all. But also, it's not really logical for Blizzard to be doing that, considering their customer service hasn't been known to previously do that. So it's not really believable, nor is it really conducive for them. So additionally, if you're forced to appeal, if it's a punished first, even if it's a small punishment, and you're forced to appeal, then even if you're on the end of like nothing was done wrong, it's at least it's a guilty until proven innocent situation. But also, it's a situation where it doesn't really tell you, because the responses are automated. What people post are automated responses. They're very not personalized. And because of that, now as somebody who wasn't expecting to get banned, you know, maybe if you were a botter, you'd have like a prepared statement. But as someone who was not expecting this, it forces you to now like backtrack and try to figure out where you went wrong, you know, and that kind of forces you to create evidence you don't have. It's like doing taxes. It's like they know how much you need to pay, but we're not going to tell you. But if you get it wrong, you're going to federal prison. So it's like it doesn't exactly make sense. A lot of people have said with this, you should do a payment issue or like a payment problem report, so you get it to it faster. That way you can get those days back, because technically if you're getting temporarily suspended unfairly, you could say, well, I lost 7 days of playtime, and that's like the payment issue, or the I want my money back, essentially. So how logical or how much that leads to success, I don't know, but at least maybe that's a solution for people who do get mass reported in these cases. But I think because of the vagueness, it's difficult to parse, and so I repeat that as well. So what is the solution? Well, I found this post once again a while back ago, but it has a system that they recommend where it's basically a reverse auction system. And the way this works is, you feel free to pause this and read this. But basically, someone will post it for a certain amount of duration, and during this time, people will bid for the lowest bidder, as opposed to like an auction where you would bid for the highest bidder. And in this, the lowest bidder will win. In this, it requires that as a crafter, that it is anonymous, that you can't necessarily reach out. My personal recommendation is that you use maybe aliases to kind of, so you can still reach out, and so you can still, you know, find out, because sometimes you find a crafter and like that's your crafter for the expansion. That's your guy. That's your person who has all the stuff, and you go to them. It's good to go to somebody regularly. I like that aspect anyways, but it's anonymous. You bid for the lowest bidder, and with this, it basically, you would go into look at how much you want to fulfill, try to outbid other crafters, but not necessarily know who those crafters are. You consider it like eBay, where you have the usernames, etc. That way you're not just directly reaching out to people and trying to attack them and get them banned, etc. But also, you can't cancel bids. You know, if you bid too low and it's not your thing, you can't cancel that bid. You can't, like, the moment you break someone's bid, you can't cancel the bid, because then that would screw over the buyer if you made it that way. So I think that, to me, is a great system. But how do we fix the mass reporting that's happening to people? Because I mean, if you're posting in trade chat, this is going to be a problem. In my opinion, mass reporting needs to have human interaction. I don't think there's any way around it for it to not have human interaction. I think it could be that it's necessary to a degree, but requiring that people create their own proof is kind of silly. I think reporting needs to be more in depth. And I think, despite Blizzard saying that they do act on these false reporters, I think we need to see this happening. I think it needs to be like a public board, or you can see false reporters or people who who are part of crafting cartels. I don't know, but like it needs to be more public and publicized, because like these hidden little shadow things where it's like, oh, it doesn't happen. All it does is it creates these Reddit posts and forums where people are like, it doesn't exist. What you're saying is a lie. It's not true, when it's clearly happening, at least to some degree. I mean, you can't say that it's happening to the degree that everyone is saying it. You also can't say that it doesn't exist. Likely the truth is somewhere in between. And so honestly, I think we need that human intervention to kind of show that, hey, these things are happening, but at least we're addressing them. I think making it public, I think the fear is that if we say these things are real, that the game will be worse and people will they'll leave the game. In all honesty, a lot of people in these posts do say, oh, I saw this and now I guess I'm quitting the game. But in reality, that's not true. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. I think this honesty, like that level of honesty, promotes the game and makes the show shows that like we're actually actively working on these issues. The problem with it all, though, altogether, is that most of the issues and most of the things that are reported, they're pretty anecdotal. I mean, like the evidence that we have is very situational. And like that person was saying in the Blizzard forum post, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. You know, are they complaining about what they got banned for in reality, or are they complaining about like, I got banned at a time where I wasn't doing anything wrong, so they must have banned me then, you know, like type of thing. Like maybe he went back, said some gamer words a while back, and then now he's in a dungeon, but then someone finally reports him for it, or it finally gets flagged and he gets temporarily suspended. It's difficult to say, but ultimately, like I said, the truth lies somewhere in between. It's likely not fully true, but not true. So I think really what we need is either systematic proof from devs, or a system that allows for more opportunities to do this with anonymous intent. I don't think that there needs to be like full-on trade involvement unless you're truly desperate. And to me, like if the reporting system is truly the issue, then I think it needs to be made where when people are making reports, then putting it on the reporter to create the chat logs, like screenshot the chat logs and show their evidence, you know, allow to attach file, etc. You know, whenever you create a ticket, in order for an action to be created upon, it creates a link, then you can attach screenshots, you know, Windows Shift S and then the screenshots. That way you can show that you actually have proof of it, putting the burden of proof on the accuser, as opposed to the person, you know, who's doing it. Because I think the way it is currently, it's very much shoot first, ask question later. So if you have any evidence or any stories with this, I'd love to hear it in the Discord or in the comments. This kind of stuff definitely, so people have said like, wow, you got no content. I enjoy this content. It's a lot of fun. The next video I want to make has to do with the race to world firsts, but not any discrimination with race to world first, but the race of world first, and some of the exploits and some of the journeys that people have been through with the most recent rollbacks and bans, I believe, as well. So I'd love to see that stuff in my Discord or in the comments if you guys have anything you'd like to share. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please do subscribe to the page. For everyone who subscribed to the page, Angel gets its wings or something like that. But I really do appreciate all the support and all the views. And I hope to release a video soon talking about my final impressions of the campaign. You know, I just finished the campaign. I've been doing 2 characters as well as playing a few other games, so I did it pretty slow. But now that I'm done with the campaign and jumping into endgame content, I kind of want to at least give my final impressions from my first impressions video to now my final impressions. So that's it for this one. Hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.